Happy Thursday!
Happy Thursday.
It's not a Monday. Yeah.
Yes, we're usually doing these on Mondays, but we wanted to share a little bonus video with you all today. Due to popular demand, people love this topic.
They do. It's a topic I've been talking about for 35 years.
Yes, so we're going to be talking about secrets of success the feminine way. And we would love you all, as always. We want this to be interactive. So as you join in, please share in the chat where you're tuning in from and what you hope to get out of the conversation today. So I want to start a little bit by saying that we're going to talk about the terms go mode and flow mode rather than masculine and feminine. But before we get to that, I'll just say that my natural sort of state of being, my natural tendency is to go more to go, go, go. I'm a very driven person. And often this takes me to the point of exhaustion or even burnout. Well, it used to before I learned how to kind of dance between the two energies. And so that's been, the achievement model was sort of something that I bought into. And when I went to school and grew my first business, this was something that was really a challenge for me. I struggled with burnout and with really pushing myself too far. And then on the other hand, we hear from a lot of women who struggle on the other side, where they are, super tapped into their intuition. They feel, very in flow, and yet they find it difficult to focus, to meet deadlines, and to reach their goals. And so I'm curious to hear from you. Hi, Starla. Nice to see you.
Hi, Starla.
I'm curious to hear from those of you watching right now, which one resonates more for you? So are you someone that is more on kind of the go, 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 or do you have a tendency to be more in flow? So tune in, Starla, and anybody else watching, and let us know.
Yeah, let us know. And first of all, we just want to touch on that a lot of the things that we're talking about today are things based on our experience and observation. So again, I've been doing my work for 35 years. And a lot of my work early on was with women around tapping into their femininity early in the 90s, and then on. And so you don't have to agree with us or disagree with us. What we want you to do is just listen, see if there's something that's interesting for you. And if there is, then take it and absolutely apply it to your life. If not, then throw it away. Ignore it completely. We're not trying to convince anyone. And the other thing I'd like to say is I know we have a lot of men in our group. And so men, this maybe isn't for you, but it's a great way to see and understand maybe the woman in your life or the women that you work with. So we're going to make generalizations as we talk. So it doesn't mean that what we're saying is true all the time. We're going to generalize, and then you can look and see what's true for you and what's not true for you.
Yeah, so Starla said she missed the question. So for anyone just joining us, the question we asked at the beginning is, which kind of mode do you find yourself defaulting to more? Are you more, we call it go mode, or are you someone that, you tend to be very go, go, go and focused and get stuff done, but maybe sometimes you struggle with being overtired or burning yourself out? Or are you someone that's on the other side where you're very in flow, naturally tapped into kind of that flowing energy, intuition, etc., and yet you struggle sometimes with really getting things done or getting the results you want? So I'd love to know from Starla and anybody else watching, which one do you resonate with more? And then we want to start with the history of this topic, a little mini history.
Yeah, it's not really the history, I think.
The history according to us. And, femininity is such a popular topic these days, and that's really, really exciting. And Gigi, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about how you've seen that conversation evolve.
Yeah, like I said,
decades.
I started in, even in the late 80s, but especially in the early 90s. And a lot of women were going into businesses, and most of those were predominantly male industries, a lot of them. And what they had to really do is they had to dress very almost male, and you would see them very businessy.
Shoulder pads?
Yeah.
Anybody remember those?
I still have those in my closet.
Hi, Yolanda. Nice to see you.
Hi, Yolanda. And so what happened is they had to play this role and really kind of strip themselves from being feminine at all. And that was a lot of my work early on, even in the early 90s, as I showed those women, they didn't have to dress like that. They could be in their power be feminine and still be very present with men and work with men. Yeah. So
yeah, so this has really changed over the
Now it's
years
really
and over the
changed, yeah.
decades where women know more and more that they can be more feminine in business. They're more confident in business. They're dressing and acting more feminine. So things are changing for the better. But we want to make some distinctions today. And one of those is that femininity isn't just about how you dress.
yeah, or your lipstick.
It is an energy and certain gifts that women naturally have, and both men and women have them, by the way. We all have both energies within us. So, some are going to have more of one than the other, but again, we're making generalizations here. So women have a natural gift for what we call receptivity and a deep inner wisdom, but most women don't have really any idea how to access it. So while we've made enormous progress in terms of our success and our equality, what's also true is that many women have disconnected from this superpower. And so, or again, they've gone too far into the sort of what they consider feminine and lost touch with how to really get things done. So how can you access that superpower of receptivity? You always say, Gigi, by relaxing deeply
and unwinding. I have the thing I always say: when women relax, they become wise. When women unwind, they step into the energy, which, like you're talking about, is this natural energy of receptivity, and it's such a beautiful energy. And when I was working in corporations, what I found is women were being taught to be more assertive. And while we need to be strong and present, the assertiveness, again, was taking them much more into that go mode and was actually taking them away from the gift they had of this receptivity. So that's been a lot of my work over the last 35 years, but especially when I worked with women on advancement and really growing in their careers and their businesses. So
Starla said she's very busy on go due to my day job as a social worker, trying to get out of my day job. What are you creating, Starla? I haven't talked to you in a long time, so tell us what you're creating in terms of, sounds like maybe a business or something outside of that. And do you find that same energy transfers over there to when you're working on your other projects, or what's showing up for you there? So any questions, any challenges for any of you watching in these areas, we want to hear from you. And for anyone new, hi Celestina, is everybody else, she said the video's frozen. I want to make sure, is everybody else able to see and hear us? Can you type in the chat and just let us know that we're hopefully not frozen so we can make sure?
Not frozen, yeah.
Yeah. So let us know. We want to make sure that's not a technical glitch on our side. Oh, she got it back. Okay, perfect.
Good.
So Celestina, let us know where you're tuning in from. And also, do you resonate more with being someone who's more go mode, where you go, and you're super focused and driven, but sometimes maybe that exhausts you? Or are you more on the other side where you're very feminine and in flow, but maybe sometimes struggle to get more results?
And same thing with you, Yolanda. Let us know. Which one do you resonate with, the go mode or the flow mode? Yeah.
And what has been your biggest challenge in this area?
Yeah.
I mean, again, we want to really make this valuable for you so you get to see how can we, move through whatever it is that's showing up for you there. Okay, so Starla does life coaching. Yes, the switch from day job to busy is off. I'm not sure what that means.
Maybe she turns it off.
Yeah, okay. So Celestina said, love go mode and flow mode. Yeah, we're going to talk more about where that came from. So going back to accessing, let's say you are a little bit more in go mode, like Starla said that's true for her. I want to hear from the rest of you. Then how do you really access those more feminine gifts of receptivity and really clear vision and seeing? I think is something that women really have a beautiful gift for. And so, like Gigi said, it is through relaxing deeply and unwinding, but not relaxing in the sense of going and getting a pedicure.
Yeah.
It could be that, but yeah. So what's the distinction there, Gigi, between sort of self-care and unwinding?
Yeah, the distinction is to look and see what makes you unwind. And sometimes that's very simple. That can be curling in bed, reading a good book, and you forget about time. When I meet women who are in very much go mode, usually their pedicures and their manicures are the things on their to-do list. So when they go there, they're multitasking, doing 1,000 different things.
I'm always multitasking.
So that's not it. It's not it. It is that feeling of unwinding, because if you've ever had that experience, and I think you're going to share a little bit about an experience of that time, of the time when time stops, right? And you tune into your body and you feel yourself, you feel the depth of your relaxation, and you come from this place of not being pushed and pulled by everything around you. You're in your center. That's very much what we're talking about. And there are things that you do that put you there. It may be walking and taking a hike, it may be swimming. You have to you have to start to explore and see what that is.
So we have a lot of comments coming in. Thank you, ladies. So Celestina said, my husband and I are opposite. I am go, he is flow.
Okay.
We see that sometimes where it's flipped there. And often too with polarity in couples, you'll have that happen. Starla was programmed to compete for good pay, so definitely more the go mode, but she does meditation to unwind.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of you may have heard this story. I'm going to just tell a really brief version of it, but one of my first really profound experiences with the power of flow mode was when a few years ago in Costa Rica, we had gone a couple days early for a retreat, and I had been trying to figure out what was next in my career for years. I was still in my marketing business, but Gigi and I were running a program together, and we had gone to lead one of the retreats, and I just was so stuck. I was having anxiety. I was having panic attacks at that point in my life, and health issues. And I had been searching for 3 years really to see what's my next step. And I thought I found it multiple times and I couldn't figure it out, and even worked with other coaches to try to get clear. And the thing was, I was coming from the mind. And we'll talk about that as well. It's very different to try to figure something out in the mind and kind of from logic, which I would say is more of a masculine or a go mode quality as well, versus from this other place, this flow mode place. And so I had no idea this was happening. You've probably heard my story if you're on our email list or anything like this. But over the course of a couple of days, Gigi and I were talking. We were walking on the beach. Would go and have margaritas. I wish we were there right now.
Those were the days, yeah.
Yeah, and every time I would try to figure something out, like, oh my God, I need to know what am I going to do next, she would stop me and not stop me, she would distract me and ask a question, or we'd go get a massage on the beach, right? So in that experience, I stopped coming from the mind, stopped trying to figure it out, but she would ask certain kinds of questions, or we would just be talking. So I unwound in a really deep way. And when that happened, in the course of those couple of days, I saw clearly my vision for what was next. I saw what I wanted to do, and that was the moment. That was my turning point moment where I decided to leave my former career, step into coaching. I also decided to move across the country. There was a lot of things that became very clear very quickly. And that is what we'll talk about our Clarity Call experience. For those of you who don't know about that, in a little while, we designed basically a shorter version of this experience for you to help get you out of the mind and really help you get clarity. So if that's something you are curious about, just type clarity below and we'll share more about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we have a lot of comments.
Yeah, so we have Yolanda, go mode when I'm on my job, but I
Okay.
start with flow mode because I do the miracle morning. Nice.
nice.
That's a really great
Yeah.
practice. And Starla said, I get all of that not knowing where to go.
Oh, maybe she doesn't know where to go right now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what happened again was the reason I was able to see the vision and get so clear was because Gigi supported me to tap into, or to deeply unwind and to tap into a different kind of seeing, I would say. And what's the quote you always say? When women relax.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Oh, you said it already.
When
We'll say it
women
again.
relax, they become wise.
Yeah.
And wise, we're always wise, but we tap into our intuition, our wisdom, the things that we see. We can start to see in life what we want and how to go and what to do. Yeah.
And we often need support to do that, by the way. So I couldn't have done that sitting there by myself trying to figure it out. So I want to address now one of the biggest myths. This is one of our catchy copy lines, right? One of the biggest myths about femininity that is draining women's vitality and bank accounts. So a lot of times people generalize and say women should be more feminine, right? We've been going into business. Many of you are more in go mode. And so they say, I want to be more feminine, or you should be more feminine. But the truth is there's a need for both, right? In business, we really need both energies. We need go mode to really get something moving and get it off the ground.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people are sort of acting the part, a lot of women, of being feminine, but they aren't actually earning or fulfilling their true destiny because maybe they're too far also in that direction. And so there's kind of this subtlety to it.
Yeah.
So, you just can't sit back and just vision or just be in kind of your intuition and your flow and wait for something to happen. That's sort of the feminine in a way that's not going to support you to have success in your life, in your business, and really not just in business, by the way. Results, I think, to really go for something takes a little of that go mode energy, right? And on the other hand, there are a lot of women who are really going for it and juggling a lot of different roles, and as a result of going too far in the go mode direction, we're seeing a lot of these things like burnout and hormonal issues and things like that, anxiety like I had. So we coined these terms, which you've heard us saying the whole time, of go mode and flow mode, because I really felt strongly like I have a lot of go mode energy in me, but I don't feel like I'm a masculine woman. And when it was masculine, feminine, I just struggled with that. I was like, man, I don't think I'm masculine, So, again, to really take it out of the context of male, female, or man, woman, we have these new terms that you guys are already embracing, which I love. Celestina said WV go mode. I'm not sure what that means either. What questions do you guys have so far? I want to make sure that, again, this is interactive. Is there something in particular you're struggling with that how do you want to get on this training today so we can be sure to answer your questions and really support you?
Yeah, and the other part is, when you are building in the beginning, the go mode is very important, and it's important, like McKenna said, it's a dance of you have the go mode, but you also have to have the time for that flow mode. You just have to balance it out. And in the beginning, sometimes it is more of the go mode. I mean, that's honestly I say if we're pushing a car up the hill, right? When does it actually gain momentum? When it gets up and it's going down again. And, starting your business is a little bit like that. It is like this thing of pushing the car up the hill. And if I stop and get distracted 10 times, then I have to start all over again. And that's a lot of times what we see is getting too caught up in the flow mode that you want to have time for that, instead of just making it part of the dance of a schedule within your work, not burning yourself out. So then you have to go and quit for 3 weeks, right? That's a lot of times what happens. Yeah,
and it is with the go mode too, though, making sure you're focusing on the right things. Because the other thing people can do is they get so ramped up in this energy and they're just doing, but they're not actually doing the things that will move them forward to where they want to go, or they're not actually working on something that's truly aligned for them, for their aliveness and what they want to create in the world. And that's, again, why when we work with people, we really help them see, first of all, get out of their heads, get into the bigger vision, make sure where they're pointing is really aligned for their aliveness and what they want to create. We do this in our clarity calls, we do this in our program. And then to make sure, then we bring in some of that go mode, right? We have to bring that in. We help you create projects and have a start, middle, and an end date so that you can actually really see results and see momentum, but in the right direction. So you're not just sitting around, if you are more the go mode kind of person, sitting around doing, checking things off your to-do list, but not actually getting any further toward where you want to go. So awesome, Celestina. Would love to do a clarity call with you. We'll definitely reach out to you. Make sure you friended me on Facebook, by the way, anybody who wants a clarity call, because if I message you and you haven't friended me, you're not going to see the message. So it's a little workaround with Facebook we have to do there. So we want to give you again, some different ways to tap into maybe the other energy, whichever one doesn't come as naturally for you. It's important to learn to dance and navigate between these two so you can have success, but in a really sustainable way. So I'm curious, do you know already some of the ways that help you tap more into the other energy? So I think a couple of you said go mode is more your energy. Starla said that meditation helps her tap into that, so that's awesome. We're going to give a few ideas as well. So if you want to tap more into go mode, one thing is having a really clear vision
about
for what you want. And then the action steps to get there, I think is really important. And the accountability too, because a lot of times if you are someone that you're more in that flow mode, you need some
easy to get distracted. We have some of the easy to get distracted. Oh, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I think I want to. And so it's a learning. I always say the entrepreneurship is it's an education and learning how to discipline your emotions and your distractions, right? And really learning how to take something that you want to do and go for it and stick with it. Doesn't have to be it forever, because you learn something so valuable there about yourself and about how to create a good business, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you need that structure outside of yourself. If you are someone that you are more in flow mode naturally, or maybe you're in go mode in your like, I don't know, Starla, for you said, you're very much in go mode in your job, but maybe when it comes to your own career, to building your business, you go more into that flow mode or into distraction. So again, it's great to have accountability and support outside of yourself. So I've seen some of you saying you want a clarity call. That's awesome. Make sure your friend requested me if you want that. And we're going to really help you look at that big picture vision, what might be holding you back, and then the action steps to really get there. So super excited to do that.
Started so you get distracted.
Yeah.
We see that often.
And then the other thing here is to create a game for, a game is what we call it. I always say it's a goal, but more fun. Gigi Star's been calling it a game forever, and it's such a great way of thinking about it, because you're victory motivated, right, in our quiz. So you want to tell us about making things a game?
Well, I always look at how do you make it fun, the energies of going for your, if you want to say goals, or, there's a lot of different terms these days. But, I don't really like the word goal so much, but I love the game, because the game is usually fun, right?
The goal is pass fail.
Yeah.
It's like if I don't reach my goal, I've, failed.
Yeah. And the game is, so you're looking at ways to have fun in it, right? And you're looking for, so I always, when I'm creating what I want to do, I make everything a game. And then it's a matter of, okay, how do I have success in this? How do I make this fun? And that's a quality then that keeps you curious. It keeps you going. It keeps you alive, instead of like a goal, right?
And it keeps you having some of that flow mode in there, instead of just going fully into go mode. And, it's really important with the game that you don't give yourself the option, if you are more in flow mode, that you don't give yourself the option to change your mind any which day, because it's really important to see something through until you get a specific result. So that's in our business boot camp and our Aliveness Mastery program, which is our certification program. We really have you create your game, and we keep you focused on that one thing for either a certain period of time or until you get a certain result. And that really builds the muscle in your business of going for it, of harnessing that go mode energy that you need to really succeed.
And also confidence. You start to get confidence because you keep your word with yourself, which is powerful. And confidence comes from us keeping our word, from us going after it and staying in it. And the more we practice, remember, the more we get there. And if you're constantly getting distracted, then you never have the opportunity to fully go into something and really learn and practice and get those hours in.
Absolutely. So Celestina says she's in West Virginia. Okay, that's what WV was. I didn't know. So some ways to tap into flow mode. Many of you said you do more go mode, or you feel more natural in that state. So in this case, it's really important, again, to get support to get out of your mind, because that's the problem-solving mode you're probably in right now when you're in that go mode. And tap into your aliveness, tap into your vision for what's next from a different place. Sometimes people get on the clarity calls and they're like very like, I want to do this, 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 and this, right? And of course we want to, see what you want to create. But I always say it can't come from the mind. You have to sit back, relax, trust the process.
Go into your heart.
Go into your heart, go into your soul,
Yeah.
your aliveness. That's really what we're working with there. So get support from outside of yourself to make that shift. And then, like we were talking about before, really discover what makes you unwind. And that really brings us to another kind of myth we wanted to talk about today, which is that feminine or flow mode looks the same for everyone. And the truth is, that is not the case. So you're 100% unique, and you have to find what works for you. I want to talk a little bit about like the nurturing. I think we touched on that a little bit, but just go a little bit deeper into people really seeing what that is for them.
What? I'm sorry.
Never mind. I'll do it. So when we talked a little bit about earlier with the self-care, right? Versus what really nurtures you and makes you unwind. So this is where we kind of throw go mode and flow mode out the window and look into the uniqueness of you. So we do a really powerful exercise. It's one of the first things people do when they join our Aliveness Mastery program, because we have you do it over the course of several weeks or months, and people pick it up again. You just had a client who's been working with you for like 15 years,
Mm-hmm,
right? And she picked this exercise back up because
Yeah.
they're working together. And what did she say about it?
She said, I've done this so many times, but now I have incorporated it more, and I see every day I'm starting to see things I didn't see before, because it also, you grow and develop and you evolve, yeah? And so if you're practicing it all the time, it starts to reveal things, but you can do it forever. You can do it for the rest of your life.
So it's really a life practice, and what it's about is noticing, where does your vitality increase and where does it decrease? What activities do you do in your day, or even maybe reading an article about someone or something like that, and you feel yourself get really curious and alive. I'm having that right now with like traveling to a tropical destination. I just can't stop thinking about it, and I'm so excited about the idea, even though of course it's a crazy state of the world, but someday soon it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but the other distinction we make when you do this exercise is around what nurtures you. And that's what we want to talk about here, because in terms of your femininity, it's really important that you be doing the things that nurture you. And for one person, that might be punching a punching bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly,
Yeah.
that makes them feel nourished, that makes them feel, just like so, what's another way of saying nourished? Just like so unwound, right?
Yeah.
And for another person, it is taking hot, long baths or going for long walks in nature. And so this is where we say it doesn't look the same for everyone.
Yeah.
It's really important to tune in for you and go, if someone else is telling you to meditate and that's going to be the thing that unwinds you, but when I sit down and meditate, it's not, for me, it's not really it.
Yeah.
For me, it's better to journal or to go for a long walk or something like that or read a fiction book often for me. So Yolanda said that is so true. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what is it for you? I want to hear from those of you. We have several people on here now. Many of you have been engaging. We love that. But let's get the comments going again. So what nurtures you? Think about it right now. When do you feel the most peaceful, the most relaxed, unwound, or in really that feminine flow? What kinds of activities do that for you? We want to hear.
And remember, we're making that distinction. That's your feminine flow. So, I think femininity has gotten this thing, like we said, of it's the way you dress, and if you have lipstick, and if you're, getting a massage, and that's not it for everybody, And so when you start to see that, what is it for you, that you own that right? I know a lot of women who look very feminine, and underneath they're very masculine, or not masculine, but they have
go mode energy.
a lot of go mode energy in them. And so to make those distinctions, and again, we don't want to label, because either one's not good or bad. The balance, you're right, the dance is what we want to create.
And I love the word dance versus balance. By the way, Gigi always says balance is a myth, because to try to balance is like having these two scales where you're like, oh my God, I have a little too much of this or a little too much of that, and it's stressful. But if you think about dancing, that's also a very feminine word. It's like, okay, I'm going to have a little of the go mode right now because I need that, and then I'm going to dance over here and have some more of the flow mode. And that is really what we're talking about, is having that ability to shift between the two energies. And Yolanda said that exercise, what gives me energy and what's draining the energy, is so good to do. Yeah, you know that exercise.
Yeah,
Yolanda,
she's
'cause
worked
you've
with us for years. Yeah.
So Starla said, sitting outside with a cup of coffee in the peace of the morning.
I love that too.
I can like visualize that when you say it. That sounds amazing. Yeah. So there was something else I wanted to share, and I lost my train of thought. So we were talking about dancing between the two energies. Oh, and why it's so important for women, especially as we go into work more and into go mode more, is that if you lose touch with this side of yourself, you're losing touch with a really, just like a part of your essence that I think is so important.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a shame, in my experience, I've been there, to go through life and not have access to that part of you. It's, yes, you can get results in a certain way, right, in business or in whatever, if you are more in the flow mode or go mode, but are you really filled up? Are you really fulfilled? And even, in touch with your body, in touch with your sensuality, that's a different kind of result or fulfillment or aliveness. So it's so important. Anything else you want to share on this topic, or? Any questions? I'd love to know from those of you watching. We've had a lot of great engagement, not too many questions, so I hope it's all making sense. But really, in terms of, again, look at what nurtures you, we've talked about today. And this is also where you're the most magnetic, by the way. So as you start to pay attention to what brings you alive and you bring more of that in, it doesn't make logical sense, right? So sometimes we find, like, when someone goes on vacation, a client, that they actually get more business,
Yeah.
right? And this is not like sitting back just manifesting and visualizing. These are people who have set the foundation.
Right.
They've done the go mode to some degree, and then they relax and take a break, and that's when the energy starts to move. So, really important to do that sometimes, or do the things that bring you alive, because they are where you become the most magnetic.
Yeah.
When I do photo shoots, I love it. I'm so alive. It nurtures me. I'm in my feminine flow, and that attracts far more people to our business as well.
Yeah.
And so in our program, Aliveness Mastery, we really work with you around tapping into your aliveness. Like we said, that's the whole foundation of the aliveness method.
It's the foundation of the work I've done for 35 years, and it sounds so simple. But it grows in you, and it's really like an art form. It's amazing. You start to see the things that bring you alive. And, I always talk to, when I'm working with the students in the program, it's not enthusiasm. It's not these, exciting moments. It's this kind of core feeling of this thing resonates with my soul. This is the thing that when I'm doing, I feel happy. I feel like myself. And the more you start to practice and tune into that, it starts to guide you to the right life. It begins to guide you to the right situations. It guides you to truly, ultimately, what you want.
And so this is really about you tapping into that. It's about you getting your own clarity, like I was able to experience in Costa Rica. But then once you have that clarity, that's only the first step, right? If I had stopped there, I would have had all the fears and self-doubts and everything come up. I needed to have the support to really get out there and create what it was I saw, and then the ongoing support, because once you get into action, you're going to see what's working, what's not working. You're going to start to get information, and then you have to kind of continue to course correct to get more and more in alignment with that aliveness, with your true self, and create your life and your career around that. And then we give you the tools. You're applying it all to yourself first, and you're receiving coaching from us along the way, but you're also learning how to do it with others. And that's so powerful. If you are a coach, or if you're thinking about becoming a coach, therapists, we have therapists in the program who are using it to integrate more of this into their practices or to add on coaching offerings. And then also people who are entrepreneurs, who are in leadership or want to use this in, business or even in their relationships and families. And so it's a 9-month program, and I really say that that's like birthing a baby.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Because it's your evolution, it's your unfolding. So we start the next group very soon. I think it's a week and a half or something like that, February 10th. And so if you are curious about that, you can go to alivenessmastery.com, alivenessmastery.com, and you can apply there, or just reach out to us, and we're happy to share more information with you. Let's see if we got any more responses here. Okay, so I want to just close by talking a little bit more about the Clarity Call experience, which I already mentioned, but for those of you who just jumped on, we have this amazing experience we want to offer to you. It's typically anywhere from like a 75 to 90-minute session, sometimes even longer. And it really is a breakthrough experience. So we took this, experience that I had in Costa Rica of getting outside of my mind and really having that expert guidance to see the bigger vision for what's next, but almost more importantly, to see what's holding you back. And thanks, Sunny. And we really condensed it into this powerful 90-minute session. And the really important thing, if you do want to do one of those calls, is you need to be committed to really making a shift. Because that is the most important thing. And people that get the value out of the session and really go out and create amazing results is that they're ready to go for something. And if that's not you, that's perfectly okay, but it may not be the right fit for you right now. Maybe you reach out in a few months when you really feel like you're there. So you'll get this clarity, you'll really see the plan and the path to get there, or what's holding you back. And then from there, it's really, like we said, to get out there, get into action, embrace some of that go mode in the right way and get the right support to help you stay on track.
Yeah.
So if you have any curiosity about that, please type clarity in the comments below. And also make sure you friended me on Facebook, like I said before, because otherwise you won't see my messages if I reach out to you. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen and everyone.
So great to see you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
So our regular live stream time is on Mondays at noon Central. So we just did a special one this week, and we're looking forward to seeing you on Monday. See you all there.